All right. We're live.
Hopefully you can hear us now that we have our awesome background again.
Yeah.
Testing is over. Nobody's here.
It could be that, it's the background that actually causes audio issues.
You and Margaret?
We sure hope not.
Not quite.
All right. We'll see when they pop up. All right, Gerard, can you hear us?
It's up to you.
There's a thumbs up. So
it sounds like people can
Mary
hear us.
Powers.
All right.
Thanks for hanging on with us, guys.
All right. It took us a while. Sorry about that. It's weird. We didn't actually solve anything. It was just a connection issue with Facebook. We tested out on Skype. I have OBS Live running right now. The audio was running on that. We just went with the old-fashioned reset, like close, start back up. And
have you tried turning your machine off?
Awesome. That's great.
Turns out that's all it was.
Yep. So I had this just a hilarious introduction, apparently, to just silence. I was just talking. We're just gonna blow through that. So the two movies for the month that we put out there, You Got Mail, Clueless. Bryan, why don't you give us the big reveal? What movie are we going to be watching for February?
70% of the votes coming in, it was Clueless.
Won by a landslide.
It was domination. This is like Alabama in the championship game. Yeah. Not this year, I guess. But It was a big time W for you. You wanted Clueless, you're going to get Clueless.
Right. So, we're doing Clueless, the 1995 rom-com classic starring Alicia Silverstone and National Treasure Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd's great in everything he does. And even back before his star was as bright as it is now. Yeah. He was the star of that show. He was very charming and endearing and likable.
Right.
He's got to be the most likable guy.
Super likable. Super likable. Made me a Royals fan.
Interesting.
More so than my wife. It was Paul Rudd.
He's the Jimmy Fallon of Royals.
He's great. He was the good guy in that movie too.
Yeah, for sure. He's usually the good guy in everything.
Yeah. So, all right. So what we like to do with the review episode, being as this is like the first time with you.
Hi, Noreen. Thanks for letting us know the first time.
Yeah.
And now we've got it fixed for you.
Very, very clutch, Noreen. It was you saved the show. I gave like an entire monologue. It was just silence.
That open was incredible.
The world will never know. It's just it'll be.
They can read lips. They can read lips.
You can go back. You can go back. So what do we remember about this movie?
From 1995. So I guess I was 12 years old, which is like peak into getting into my self-consciousness with everybody. You're kind of arriving. You're aware of cool and uncool. Like that's that transition, at least where I was in school, between elementary and junior high.
Yeah.
And junior high, there's a lot more social pressure than there was. You kind of come from this small school where everybody knows everybody's friends, and you are thrust, at least in public schools, into a school it's 3 times the size from 3 feeder schools, and there's new friendships being formed, all that kind of stuff. So you're super impressionable. And I remember looking up to these guys in movies like this. The movie that we watched last time was a little later, but 1995, 12 years old, right on the heels of Saved by the Bell, which was like 1993.
Right.
Just looking up to like teenagers as basically adults and taking cues from what they were doing on what was not necessarily what was cool, but just like how to act and seeing nice people. And, they were always trying to tackle with like Saturday morning. They were always trying to tackle like problems of the day and stuff like that. But Clueless was fantastic. I watched it then. I probably watched it in the last 10 years. For sure on TBS in some form or fashion because it's always on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you remember?
The thing is, it came out in 1995, but I don't think I watched it in 1995. I don't think I watched it in theaters. And the thing is, I think I watched it not recently, but within the last 5 years or so. So I do kind of, but even then, I think I know bits and pieces of it. So we were talking about it, and I think maybe this was like on the episode that was the lost episode with no sound. But you were bringing up how this high school and the high school from the movie that we just reviewed and talked about, 10 Things I Hate About You. These are, again, very very robust curriculum. Like the people that go here seem to be very well. It's like where are these schools? Because it's a public school. The kids. It seems like the class is like generally the teacher gets in like they'll sit down and it's like the class is like 2 minutes long and then it's like the bell, and most of school is just hanging out in the courtyard.
A lot of lounging. There seems like there'd be a lot of recess, a lot of, after lunchtime, kind of in your pod with the people that look and dress exactly like you. The hacky sack crowd, the preps,
right.
The stoners, which might be the hacky sack crowd
right.
also. And then the kind of the nerds and the yuppies. Like, yeah, there's usually the black crew, the jocks. I mean, in every high school movie, you kind of see that. And there's a scene that I definitely remember is them strolling through, like, down the main walk and just kind of seeing all of the different people and the wannabes, and it's
right. Was that just like a staple in those movies? As if like if you're an adult, you just forgot that there were cliques in high school or something like that. But then it just like there was that scene in 10 Things I Hate About You where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character was kind of brought through his school by his guide, and it was like, hey, these are the cool kids, these are like the uncool kids. This is the NBA club or whatever.
But even beyond that, they were still doing that like very visually in like Mean Girls. You remember there's like not to get off on an entire other movie, but like it is a trope that goes through these, that you have to define who's who, good guys, bad guys, cliques. Right. I mean, they just, that's, yes.
Yeah, and I think for Clueless, if I remember correctly, again, this is what do we remember, this could be incorrect, but part of the theme and the reason why you want to have like these defined groups was to kind of like tear down the barriers between them, right? Like, I think Paul Rudd's character didn't necessarily fit into the cool kids club, right?
He was in college. He was in college.
Oh, okay. And in many ways, kind of like rolled his eyes at them.
So I think he was the stepson, or he was the son of a former marriage. He was a stepson, but the dad had taken a liking to him from like 2 marriages ago, and was in town or on sabbatical from school or whatever, right. And was just kind of like, I think he was going to think about going to law school, so maybe he was looking at pre-law, and the father's a lawyer, so maybe he was kind of shadowing Josh. His name was Josh. I remember that.
Okay, interesting.
The other things I remember was, I didn't notice him at the time, but the guy who, spoiler alert, who like one of the stoner kids that kind of is in the movie, he ends up going on Brecken something. He ends up being like the protagonist in Road Trip, if you remember that. So I remember seeing him in Road Trip and then watching Clueless after and saying, like, that's that guy.
Was Road Trip in the vein of those, like, kind of raunchy teen comedies
for sure.
that kind of came? That's like a bunch of
that was in
the early 2000s.
That was
like American...
not Tom Green. Tom Green.
Tom Green, yeah.
He was in that. He was the one, he had he was supposed to watch The Snake. Anyway, other movies that we can potentially talk about later.
So...
Back to Clueless.
What
we remember.
Very sophisticated group. I think I think the main plot involved Alicia Silverstone's character, who I think the movie follows her point of view, and she's kind of like I think it's like she kind of has the world figured out.
Right. She's definitely worldly, or comes across that way.
Very fashionable. Didn't she have like one of those like brick cell phones, which would have been like...
I don't know. I don't remember that at all.
It's like, that's like having an iPhone 11 right now.
She definitely takes pity on the new girl, and that's kind of what her vision is. So for those of you that don't know, this is based on Emma, the Jane Austen novel. So keeping in the literary theme that we did last time, we did a Shakespeare, Taming the Shrew. So we're staying in that vein. And yeah, she kind of takes pity. So going back to you saying she's worldly about things, she takes pity on Ty. She's got her friend Dee, who is just kind of her, not a lackey, but just like, she's like the black version of Cher. Yeah. Basically, they were simpatico.
Stacey Dash.
Yeah, Stacey Dash. And Donald Faison. There's a lot of great people in this movie. I'm hyped about this one.
And also a common theme with 10 Things I Hate About You, on a sadder note, but also a deceased.
There is another deceased person. Yeah, last time it was Heath Ledger. This time it is Brittany Murphy passed away. Also drug overdose, I think.
Really? Oh, that's sad.
I think so. But anyway, any questions you guys have or anything you remember? Hey, Joanne, that's my aunt. That's awesome. Yeah. Any questions from you guys would be fantastic if you remember anything about the movie.
So I do remember. Okay, so like the bad. Again, like the last movie that we watched, 10 Things I Hate About You. You had that the bad guy was sort of the the dreamboat. He was like the coolest guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. I remember this actor because I feel like he was typecasted as sort of like that. Again, the all.
He was a model.
He
like his extracurriculars in the movie was being a model. Like, yeah, man. You saying Chris?
First ever.
How's it working for you, Chris?
Honored.
So will this be your last? I guess is the question we need to know.
The all-American douchebag. I remember he was in. That actor was in.
Joey?
Dark. Yeah. From Clueless.
From Clueless. Oh, Alton.
Yeah.
His name's Alton. Yeah, his name's Alton.
You know the actor's name?
No, I know his face.
Yeah, he was in
Rolling with the Homies.
6 Feet Under.
Okay.
Which was like this really dark comedy on
HBO, right? Or Showtime.
HBO. Yeah, HBO. Yeah, but also kind of played like this sort of like, he just kind of has that face, like kind of like
punchable.
Yeah.
Like,
he
played Alton very well.
He used it. He made an entire career like knowing that he was like, I'm good looking, but also like punchable face. So Hollywood. I know who I am.
I wonder what his name is. He looks like a Josh. If I had to guess, he looks like a Josh. I don't know. Yeah, do you want to get too much into the finer points of the movie, or just kind of generic stuff like this that you remember?
I think it's really just what. So if you have anything that really sticks out to you, and especially if it's kind of like anything that like maybe hazy, we'll see like how on point we are.
Yeah, I definitely remember the iconic scene where, back to the last movie where we talked about computers being an accessory.
Yeah,
Cher has this like computer specifically for her closet, where she like is mixing and matching as if she doesn't know how. And
is it a motorized closet?
Yeah, it's like it's like I mean, it's basically like a laundromat. But it's hooked up to her computer. She says, "Oh, I want the yellow plaid jacket with the yellow plaid, skirt," and then it like swings through and it finds it, and then she just kind of picks it out, and it's.
Oh wow!
Also helps that like Iggy Azalea did a song based on this very recently. It's like a lot of these things were really, and so did Ariana Grande actually. Her song "Thank You Next."
Thank You Next
had some Clueless like homage to it.
Did it?
Yeah.
I'm sure it did, because that was kind of like the point of that music video.
Mm-hmm.
Again with Mean Girls.
And then I definitely remember being disappointed that Alicia Silverstone was basically too famous to do the TV show, because a lot of people also did the TV show. But I liked the TV Cher as well.
There was I didn't know there was a TV show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know how, maybe it was like a late addition to TGIF.
Okay.
Fridays or something, but I remember it.
So like with like the Boy Meets World.
But it was like Donald Faison. Who was the redhead? Do you remember her name? April, not April. Anyway, she's the antagonist, or she's kind of like, she's like Bizarro Cher, who like wants to be famous, but is like the worst of everything. She's like the fake plastic, and like, are they in Malibu? I mean, they're in California, very clearly.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
So just quickly, what do you know about Alicia Silverstone's career lately? Has she been in anything?
I got really hyped when she was Batgirl. That was a terrible movie. That was the George Clooney one.
That was like a long time ago too.
But she's done.
Was that like late '90s? That Batman?
Yeah. Then she was in the Aerosmith video. I don't know. That may have been before movies. No, I haven't seen Alicia Silverstone. If I had to bet, she's off somewhere like with her own like skincare line or something, and is just like leveraged being a mom, and now kind of like is entrepreneuring and trading on the fact that she once was Alicia Silverstone. Right. Maybe she's in movies. I don't know. Nothing I've seen.
Okay. Well, I think that about wraps it up. At least for it is. Thanks for everyone that participated and voted. Again, we apologize for the technical difficulties. It's just one of those things.
So now, go watch the movie. We'll be back in a week or two, probably, with the vlog podcast, giving our kind of take afterwards. But it would be really fun if you guys went and watched it too, so that we can have a little more interaction, and kind of you would be hyped and kind of start basically critiquing us and seeing what you remembered or what we may have left out that you found too. I'm excited. Right.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna try to expand. Like right now, we're doing with Facebook, but we're gonna try to expand with like our reach, and we're trying different streaming mediums like Twitch and stuff.
Yeah.
In the future, so keep an eye out for that stuff. Follow us at Bros. follow this guy right here at BB Cardis, and you don't need to follow me
At Face the Facts.
22.
22.
But an overrated Twitter account. An overrated Twitter account. But yeah, if you want any updates, definitely follow that at Bros Bros. Also check out our website, brosbros.com. I think that about wraps it up. And you guys missed just an incredible, super funny and insightful introduction.
It was an introduction.
Yeah, and now they'll never know how.
That's just for us, man.
Yeah,
it's okay to keep things for us.
They'll just never know.
Signing off.
All right, guys.